So today's episode is focusing on Marvel Snap. It is a brand new card strategy game based in the Marvel IP, and TapTap actually just released it onto their app. I can't wait to check it out. Hopefully you guys stay tuned for the rest of this video, since it is essentially my review of the entire game in a sense. Catch you guys in a few. So this week we see a major launch on the TapTap platform, and it caught me completely off guard, and it was Marvel Snap. Now, Marvel's brand new IP, this brand new card game, is on all mobile platforms, whether you're on iOS or Google Play Store, and as well as you can also play on a PC. Now, of course, I picked my download up from TapTap, and I was actually ready to put my strategic brain to the test. So Marvel Snap is essentially a card game focusing on Marvel heroes and villains, but instead of your standard attack and defend, and reduce your opponent's health down to 0, Marvel Snap introduces a shakeup to the card game world. Every deck consists of 12 cards with a 6-turn match. Your goal is essentially to utilize your deck and beat your opponent 2 out of the 3 areas by the time of your 6th turn. So let's talk about the actual gameplay that players will find themselves in any match you will bring your 12 card deck to the field to go against your opponent. Like other card battlers, each card has an energy cost from 1 to 6 and a power level, but no health. These cards do not fight each other. On turn 1, you have 1 energy. On turn 2, you have 2. All the way up to 6 at turn 6. Now, after some time, I believe 10 matches or so, you will be put into a rank to go against actual players. The battlefield will look a bit weird, but you'll get the hang of it very soon, as every match will start with 3 varying locations based in a Marvel world with varying effects to your battles and cards. This is the exact point where things truly get interesting, because it's very random, like it's damn near impossible to guess what the locations and the abilities for the locations will have, so that it's adapted to the situation. Depending on the scenario, the locations will be revealed in turns. Now, every turn up to turn 3, all 3 locations will be revealed. The objective for each location is to have the highest attack power for the location by the time of your 6th turn, and you need to at least win 2 locations out of the 3. And this may sound a bit simple, but after the 10th plus matches I've come across, it's actually not just an easy feat to just win. From the many locations either working your favor or not completely being its own beast, it will prove a problem if your deck isn't very well equipped to handle adapting. Like, some locations will forbid you from using a specific type of cards to it actually helping your hand. There's so much randomness inside of these battles that every battle is essentially a fight for survival. You really have to outthink the board, and as well as adapt to what your opponent uses. And of course, making sure that you're upgrading your cards, which is actually a very simple. I was very surprised on how actually simple it was. It was essentially just make sure you got your material, which you gain the material through actually playing the game, but make sure you got your material, and then you can actually upgrade your cards, which the first upgrade you get for any newer cards will actually break your card out of its frame. Then eventually your card can become a 3D or animated or any other cool features to improve its overall look. Now, I do want to cover the pay to win, since pay to win has been such a fairly new topic. I wouldn't say new topic, but it's been such a heavy topic specifically this year with all the games coming out. For all of my fans out there, all my community, don't worry about anything being pay to win. This game is completely free to play. There's no way for you to gain an advantage over your opponent by actually spending money. That's impossible. The only thing you can really spend money on this game is the season pass, and almost any card in this game you can unlock without spending any actual money. Additionally, like I said, you cannot actually pay money for specific cards. You cannot craft specific cards with in-game currency, and essentially turning Marvel Snap into a full-fledged free-to-play game without needing to buy your way to the top of the rankings, which is such a breath of fresh air, especially with all these games that is dropping recently, where everything somehow, some way, you have to buy your way into it, or at least spend a decent amount of money like other mobile games. That's one credit I can give to Marvel Snap, is just everything you can earn by itself, and especially being a newer game, not a game that came out years ago, anything of that nature. Is a brand new game, came out not even within a week, and it's already starting off as a hit. Granted, it is using the Marvel IP, so I can see how that essentially can actually help its luck in the Play Store. But even though having a Marvel IP, it still is a great game to play. But lastly, on the actual gameplay features, I actually want to talk about the gambling of your matches. So now this may seem a little bit odd, but you probably wonder, like, Chaos, what do you mean by gambling? There's no gambling in the game. Well, I say it loosely. Think of it as a grain of salt. I see it as a double or nothing feature. This specific feature that I am speaking of is the snap functionality. Essentially, snap is used to raise the stakes in a battle, which can be either used to bluff your opponent, and whichever player wins gets double the cubes to get a higher ranking. Now, most people, if anybody who's played poker, blackjack, any type of gambling games, you know, essentially utilizing bluffs can be a way to help you exceed very well in any type of gambling game or a card game, anything of that nature. So Marvel Snap actually uses a nice good spin on trying to add gambling into the game. Players can unlock it after completing the tutorials and reaching Iron Rank 10. So essentially, if I'm not mistaken, that is going to be about 10 matches in total by the time you reach Iron Rank 10. And then as well as by raising his stakes from snapping, players can have the chance to obtain cubes from the actual match itself. Cubes offer ranked rewards and helps you climb the tiers up higher. And you can actually earn up to 8 cubes per match, and a player can only snap once per match, so that it doesn't truly get out of hand, which it definitely can't get out of hand if they didn't put these limitations on it. Marvel Snap is the perfect game to play if you're a fan of the comics, since it doesn't dwell too hard into the MCU. And if you have about 5 minutes to play a mobile card game, then Marvel Snap is for you. And in my time playing, I genuinely had a good time playing the game, and will continue to play the game in the future. Currently, right now, that I've noticed is that the Symbiote Invasion is the first season in the game, so you can get cards from your favorite symbiotes like Carnage and Venom. The location mechanic and the snap mechanic adds a great spin to the risk and reward for your battles. And now, of course, if that seems like something that is up your alley, then I highly recommend you to, of course, download it from TapTap, search it up, and you'll definitely find it. Marvel Snap is probably one of the newer card games I've seen come out this year, and probably will be one of the biggest card games to come out this year. I genuinely just enjoy playing Marvel Snap. It's actually a very fun game. Like, it's something I can definitely play on the side. With a 5-minute playtime, I'm not too mad at it. I really just like games that are just really test my brain. These locations is very interesting because every location is different, and it becomes a guessing game, seeing what location's going to have what type of functionality, what is going to have this. Like, essentially, there was one location where it would actually hinder you to the point where it'll hinder both you and your opponent, where you will get, oh, you cannot play a card that costs 4 to 5 to 7 or so, anything higher than that, you can't play it. Or you can get ones that is the complete opposite of that, like, oh, you can't play any cards that is level 1, level 2, level 3, anything like. It really hinders you. Or some cases you'll say, oh, shuffle 5 rocks into your hand, which the rocks is essentially useless. It is essentially a useless thing to actually have in your deck. So the best way around this is adapting to the board. So the first location will always be up first. So if you have to work around the first location and see what the board is going to give you. The board give you something good, then play accordingly. But then, of course, not only do you have to pay attention to the board, but please pay attention to your opponents, because that can play into their hands, because everybody's decks are different. There's so many cards that you can get, and there's so many strategic ways to be able to use these cards. So I can't really say just go guns blazing with the cards. Please be strategic with your battles. I genuinely love playing this because I love really using the strategic chess type of strategies. But it's overall a very fun game. But as always, it's been your host, KSD TV, here at Chaotic Inc., signing out. Peace.